All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to crack the code on one of those big business questions. You know, the kind everyone thinks they have the answer to, but when you push them on it, the proof gets a little fuzzy.
I mean, it just feels true in your gut, right? Great customer service has to lead to more profit. But how? Like really, how does it work? Is it some kind of business magic? Or is there an actual provable formula, a step-by-step process that turns a happy customer into a healthy bottom line?
Well, to find that formula, a team of researchers decided to play detective. They went deep into the hospitality industry, conducting this huge investigation across 184 hotels in Korea. And they didn't just look at the numbers. They talked to almost 600 employees and managers to really map out the hidden machinery that connects great service to real success.
So the first question is, how do you even measure something like good service? I mean, you can't just count the number of smiles at the front desk, right? No, these researchers were way smarter. They focused on something much deeper, something baked into the very structure of a company. They called it service orientation.
Okay, so what on earth is service orientation? Look, it's not a cheesy poster in the break room or a mission statement nobody reads. Think of it more like a company's DNA. It's all the real, tangible, everyday things they do because they genuinely believe their main job is to serve the customer. The whole company is built around that one idea.
And this is where it gets super practical. They broke this big idea down into 7 key ingredients. And we're talking about real stuff here, not just vague concepts like employee empowerment. Do you actually let your team solve problems, or do they have to ask a manager for everything? What about service leadership? Do the bosses walk the talk? And this one's huge, rewards. Are you paying people for making customers happy, or just for getting things done fast? You can see the whole list. All 7 of these pillars are what create a real, authentic service culture.
But here's the really clever part of their thinking. They knew that even a company with a perfect score in all 7 of these areas doesn't just, poof, become more profitable. It's not magic. It has to be a domino effect, right? The first domino, this strong service culture, has to knock over a few other things before you get to that final domino, profit.
So what were those middle dominoes? Well, the researchers had a hunch. They believed the key missing links were 2 things. First, how employees feel about their work. We'll call that job satisfaction. And second, how the public sees the company, its service image. The theory was simple. A great service culture makes employees happier and makes the company look better, and that's what ultimately leads to better business performance.
And this right here, this is their initial battle plan. Think of it like a treasure map for a business mystery. Every one of those arrows is a path they wanted to investigate. Does a good culture directly lead to profit, or does it have to go through happy employees first? What about loyalty? Where does that fit in? This diagram is basically all the questions they were hoping the data would answer.
Okay, so they had their map, they had their data from hundreds of people. What happened when they crunched the numbers? What did they actually find? Let's get to the big reveal and see which of those paths on the map were real highways to success and which were just dead ends.
And just remember, this isn't some academic theory cooked up in a lab. This is all based on what nearly 600 people, from the front desk staff to the general managers, were actually living and breathing every day in those hotels. The data was about to tell the real story.
And boom, here it is. This is the solved mystery. This is the final proven formula. It might look a little like that first map, but there's a huge difference. These arrows? These are the connections that the data proved were real beyond a shadow of a doubt. This is the actual blueprint. And those little numbers on the arrows, they basically show you how strong each connection is. The higher the number, the more powerful that link. So, if we trace the proven paths, 2 main winning formulas pop right out. Formula number 1, a strong service culture makes your employees way more satisfied with their jobs. And guess what? Happier employees directly lead to a better bottom line. Simple as that. Formula number 2, that same strong service culture also builds a fantastic public image, and that great reputation also directly leads to better performance. So you've got 2 clear roads to success.
But let's double-click on that employee path for a second, because this was one of the most powerful findings in the whole study. The researchers themselves said it plain and simple. The greater the job satisfaction of the employees, the greater the business performance. It's not a fluffy HR thing. It's not a nice to have. It is a direct, hard-nosed driver of profit.
Okay, but hold on. I know what you're thinking. What about just plain old loyalty, right? We always hear that having loyal, committed employees is the key. People who bleed the company colors. The researchers looked at that too, They called it organizational commitment. And what they found here, well, it was a huge surprise.
Just look at this. Job satisfaction? A total home run. A clear, strong, proven link to making the business better. But organizational commitment, just being loyal, it was a complete dud. In fact, in their model, the link was so weak it was almost negative. This is an incredible insight. It means having an employee who is loyal but miserable in their actual job isn't helping you. It might even be hurting you. What really moves the needle is how they feel about the work they do every single day.
So, okay, fascinating research, but what's the bottom line for us? For anyone running a business or managing a team, how do we take this and actually use it? Let's turn this whole thing into a simple, actionable playbook.
It all comes back to those 7 ingredients of service orientation. You want to activate this formula? Then empower your team. Give them the trust and authority to solve problems. Invest in training so they feel capable and confident. Lead by example. Don't just talk about it, be about it. And for sure, reward great service. Recognize the behavior you actually want to see. These are the real levers you can pull to make your employees happier and your business stronger.
Look, if you boil this entire study down to one sentence, it's this: stop chasing profit. It's a result, not a goal. Instead, get obsessed with building a real, genuine culture of service, because that culture is what makes your employees happy and effective. And it's those happy, effective employees who will go out and build a more profitable business for you. It's that simple.
So I want to leave you with one final question to chew on. Think about your own organization, your own team. Looking back at that list of 7 dimensions, empowerment, leadership, training, all of it, which one is your absolute strongest, your superpower? And be honest, which one is your weakest link? Because figuring that out might just be the most important first step you can take.